There's a Vijay Mallya, there's a Mukesh Ambani. They're both visionaries. Great vision, great things for India. One didn't know when to let go, and one knew when to let go and pick the industries that would work. I mean, 50,000 was our capital cap. Rohiti, let's say, because you've had a TVL journey, how much do you think we spent on developing our product?
Your product?
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't think that it would have been done in 50,000.
But how much do you think we spent on building them?
30?
6,000. There is never an upper limit. Having more resources makes life easier. I mean, I always tell, I have this conversation with my friends that as a student, your greatest strength is begging.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your greatest strength is begging. So you have to be ready. A simple, just me showing up to Jyoti ma'am's office every week, 3 times. I got all the components for free.
So you guys are in your 4th year now.
Third year.
Third year.
Yeah.
Right. So how was TVL for you guys? What did you guys come up with as your project or your venture? Were you guys in the same team?
No.
We were in different teams.
So, Rohit, you want to take this first?
Yeah, okay. So ours was a student engagement platform. So it basically helped students organize their schedules and then put all of their course content in one place. So it's sort of like a time management app. So in that, all of your resource, which is like distributed all across different websites, gets together in one place, and then you can access that all of your resources from that app, and then it's like a one destination for everything, and then you have features like real time progress. So you add your tasks into it, and then you tick off each and every task. So you can see like what exactly tasks are you doing in one day, and then like how much progress are you actually making. So
And what about you?
So, yeah, I was representing team connectivity, and we were primarily working on building a IoT device for cyclists, primarily in the premium cycling space and electric cycles. So this was like a one-stop shop device for everything that you would ever need as a cyclist.
Okay.
So we had a lot of security features. We tried to do geofencing and find my bike and stuff like that. And we had fitness monitoring for people who relied on, let's say, a regular smartwatch that was built on an algorithm. We wanted to give them more specialized data tracking. So it was, and all of that was within a lock actually. So that was a USP, that we were offering something that your regular smartwatch and let's say an AirTag or like some kind of GPS tracker, all of that integrated into your lock. So nobody would steal it because it's in the lock. So that was our basic idea.
So how did you come up with this? Did you have like some personal experience with this, or?
So there was obviously there were 2 elements to it. One was our personal experience because as our campus is a green campus, we're allowed to only have cycles as our mode of transportation apart from the golf carts.
Yeah.
So we actually have a lot of cycles on campus. Like thousands and thousands of cycles. Most of them are actually abandoned. So what would happen is when you park your cycle in a parking lot and you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning, let's say 10 minutes before class, and you go to the lot and you see a sea of 500 cycles and your cycle is somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And you don't know if somebody else has taken it or even if it's there really. So that was one of the pain points we were working with. And the other thing we were working with was SNU cycles, our very own
Right.
cycles on campus, which was allowed for you to rent them. So we actually started connectivity with the vision that we wanted to build like a B2B product for people with large fleets of cycles like SNU cycles. So it'd be selling to campuses and let's say Yulu in Delhi. So stuff like that. And yeah, those were the main considerations basically. We'll see a lot of these SNU cycles and ki rental period was finished. So this is thrown it in a bush or abandoned it in the middle of the road because the chain fell off or something like that.
So what were the other businesses you were working with? Like you said, it was a B2B setup?
That is what we started with.
Okay.
But then we took it forward and went on to make it B2C. because that had more commercial viability for us. Because
Yeah.
then the kind of features we were offering was something that is like really new, and really it was an exciting space. So that would attract more B2C customers. And the other thing was, because we were targeting premium cyclists, like SNU cycles are mass purchasing cheap cycles that you can rent.
Yeah.
There, they don't care if the cycle gets lost or broken or damaged or abandoned. Not more than somebody who has a cycle that costs more than 5 lakh INR.
How did you go about that? What happened to your venture? Are you still continuing with it?
So, I mean, while TVL is over per se as a part of SNU, but we are still thinking about taking the idea forward, because I think what we came up with was a wonderful idea with a lot of commercial viability. And the other thing is, it's something that we can capitalize on. Let's say, even if the idea is something that we cannot do, we can modify it for cars, modify it for bikes, modify it for trucks. So there are like multiple things that you can work with, keeping theft and monitoring as the main theme here. And if the idea is something that we can't work on, we sell it. I mean, if somebody is willing to buy. But we're definitely considering continuing our firm, our whatever venture out of campus. I've spoken to a couple of friends who are abroad, working with angel investors and venture capitalists, so we can actually pitch the idea to some real investors.
And what happens to your other teammates then? So, like you said, TVL is over for you guys. So, are they also equally invested?
No,
Okay.
I mean,
It depends from member to member in the
Yeah.
team. So whoever is interested, they volunteer to continue it, and whoever is not, they just like drop out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, are your teammates?
no. We started as a team of 7, and we chose a team that was very equitable in the roles. So we had a guy who was a specialist in design. We had somebody who was good at networking and negotiation. We had some people who had some good, engineering knowledge and background. I was the guy who was dealing with, more front end of, talking, discussing, selling, negotiating with the outsiders of campus, and even dealing with the people on campus. So interpersonal skills was my area. And we were very specialized that way, but we couldn't really get the team to work like that, and not everybody showed the same level of interest. So yeah, maybe if we can get them to reignite the spark where the idea is concerned, we can make all of them work, or whoever are interested, we take them forward, build a new team, diversified team.
But in some sense, it's better, no, to have an organic team that
Definitely.
self-selected into the project rather than how you guys started up with 7 people based on friendships and
I mean, at the end of the process, at the end of the day, I think the genius part of letting us select the teams is that there are no regrets.
Yeah.
Because you can't go at the end of the
Exactly.
journey and feel like, you picked the team. So,
right,
that's on you. Nobody can help you with that.
and that's how it should be. Like,
That's how it should be. That's how it should be. The only con is obviously diversification, because we're all management students.
right.
So you need to go out then, because there's only so much knowledge that we have in every domain of, let's say, the idea. Like for us, mechanical engineering, embedded systems, understanding sensors, understanding product design was very big. Prototyping was something that we had to get into. So those are areas that we explored. Sure, we learned about it, yes, and there was a lot of interdisciplinary learning.
Right.
But you still have to talk to engineers and deal with
Of
experts.
course.
Yeah.
There's a lot of convincing also that goes into telling each member that we have already enough specialists in this area. So you have to learn something different and be contributing in that particular project. Like otherwise there'll be too many people working on the same thing, and then other areas there's just no focus. That's sort of a loophole, right? So if you don't have particular focus in that, your idea might fall short on that
On
sort
that
of,
aspect,
yeah, on that
yeah.
aspect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's people don't want to get out
Yeah.
of their comfort zone.
Yeah,
as such.
yeah. Because I mean, everybody wants to build the slides. Everybody wants
Want
to
to do the
design a
social
nice
media
PPT, do
marketing.
the social media marketing.
Marketing,
But
everyone wants to make the reels, but
yeah, but you have to get them to get up and work. That's the toughest challenge. We worked with
The
engineers.
teams, right?
The
That's what
teams.
you're
That's
saying is
that's
the
the toughest thing, because getting people to work and getting them interested in the work
Right.
is tough. And for us as a team, I mean, I'll just take like a short 30 seconds to explain this. When we started out, this wasn't our first idea actually. We had four other ideas that we were working on.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually had, everybody was like, no, my idea is better, and the other guy is saying, my idea is better, and the seven of us were just there like that. Then we narrowed it down to two, and then our mentor Debarati ma'am actually made us like pitch the idea against each other. So that time we were only six, so we had three people pitching one idea to the other three, and the other three pitching an idea to us, and then we're deciding which idea looks better and what looks like, it has more potential and more growth in it.
Yeah.
And that's how we started our TVL journey actually.
Okay.
The other idea was about creating a one-stop box of beverages, and it has everything in it. So instead of just buying like a whole,
Yeah.
let's say, box of tea and then coffee grains alag se, it was like all in one. And then you can choose what you want. Like let's say you want, Davidoff coffee, and then you also want Bonvita with it. So then you can pick like an assorted box like that and get everything that you need in one box.
So like a customizable box.
Like a customizable box for
beverage
beverages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And we got that idea from Naveen actually
Yeah.
at
makes
CND,
sense.
because we were like, Naveen has a lot of options, but I want this in my room
Hmm.
at night at 2 in the night. I need a cup of coffee. I'm not going to Naveen at 2.
Yeah.
So how do I make this more accessible?
Mhm.
So that's funny story.
So how were you guys graded back then? Like I don't know how that worked for you,
Okay.
but for now, as Sir is here, I mean, it's very different for us, I think, compared to last year.
It will be, because you guys started it. It will be. See,
Yeah.
the number of credits that we give for something like TVL, that hasn't essentially changed. Although their plans to expand the time period that students get. Right? I'm trying to make it at least one more semester longer,
Yeah.
and even have electives where some few teams can get the support, like you said, to take the idea forward. In terms of grading, I think a big component, and correct me if I'm wrong, a big component of your grade was there used to be exam.
Yeah, so there
Of-
used to be exams, but then that wasn't a big component of it. It was
Some
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
It was
Out of
2.5.
five.
Out
For-
of 5, yes.
And
So
then
it's
the other
basically a
2.5
quarter
was
of-
pitches.
Pitches.
Yeah.
So the most weightage is, of course, pitches.
So
That's the only way. Yeah.
2.5 and 2.5 on the exam. So what's happening for your current cohort is the distribution of the credits remains the same, but it will there will be an assessment, but it will not be an exam assessment, because you're not taking those kind of theoretical classes. You'll be taking more master classes. You'll be taking some classes, but very skill based.
Right.
So there will be some assessment, because that's the university rule. So there will be that, and you will have the pitch, but all of your 2.5 credit pitch will be one pitch at the end of the semester. I think they used to
Okay,
have
wow. So
They
our
used to have
our
2 to 3.
system was actually
the
like
pitch
10,
was spread out.
10
10
credits,
credits spread out.
10
yes.
credits, 5 credits each semester, 2.5 credits from pitches, 2.5 credits from your exam and your mentor grading.
Right.
So your mentors graded, so that there are no free riders. The
Yeah.
mentor also graded you. And 2.5 credits was 1.25 for 2 pitches, 4 pitches a year. 2
Right.
semesters made 2 pitches each.
Right.
So that was the
Confusing.
structure.
It was the venture lab, but it's designed, because it's relatively new program. I think
Yeah.
2 years. You guys are the second
We were the
batch.
second batch. Yeah.
It was designed. The ethos was still simple, kind of a college assessment system
Mhm.
to see that everyone, because it is part of the core.
Yeah.
So there has to be some sort of an assessment, and it serves its purpose well, I guess, at that time starting out.
It wasn't
But-
very holistic. per
Yeah,
se.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now, what for your batch and going forward, the idea is that your venture should speak for itself. So the quality of your venture based on different metrics, and that should decide on how much work you have put in.
Yeah.
What shape is it in?
Yeah.
Right. ultimately that's what matters. It's
Result.
the result.
I mean, it was sort of similar to us also. Like, no matter there were how many exams there were, it's all on the theory. You
Right.
don't get much learning from
Learning
that.
from that.
Experiential learning is the key to go, right?
Yeah.
So it's all based on it's different factors, like how innovative your idea is, how viable your idea is, how
Mhm.
you're presenting your idea in the pitch. That obviously has more weightage than your
Yeah.
exam based
Yeah.
assessments.
So it was distributed 2.5, 2.5. Now there will be, the thing is the assessments will be done differently. It
Yeah.
will not be done on an exam. The one pitch at the end of the semester will have 2.5. And then again next semester, the pitch will probably have even a bigger weight. I'm trying to, that's a simple matter of taking it through certain departmental processes to change the category. So your classes and exams won't have as much weight as before.
So our pitch is
The
the
quality of the venture that will
main big
matter.
thing for us.
Yeah. It's
It
not so much,
used to
again,
be.
let me put it
It
this
used
way.
to be.
But
It used to be.
It used to be.
So I do not want to give the impression that it's the pitch day that decides.
Yeah.
It's not the pitch as such. It's the quality of your venture.
right.
You can come and make a very good pitch, a very smart pitch, which I'm trying to tell students that you can make beautiful slides, talk very nice, everyone dressed up nice, make a beautiful pitch. But there will be metrics behind it in assessing your
I mean,
venture,
it sort
and that
of
will
shows,
decide.
like, no matter how much you
And it
try
shows.
to be
You're
good in
absolutely
the
right.
pitch, it all depends on how much you worked.
Yeah.
It
Behind
is
the
very
scenes.
difficult to give
Yeah,
a good pitch on a
exactly.
bad
Yeah,
idea.
if you
Yeah.
don't
The-
work enough,
I
it
think-
shows. It's
Yes,
obviously
yes, indeed.
And
visible
what,
over
what are
there.
the metrics, sir, you're talking about?
So the metrics for the quality of the venture, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit, I don't want to jump the gun here. We are still working on creating those metrics. But, for example, a lot of you are working on platform-based ideas.
Right.
So there, I'm not going to look at sales. I'm going to look at, how much of the ecosystem you have built, how many users are
Active
signing
users.
in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you are telling that I'm going to design a product or go into product development kind of a thing and innovate in product design and sell, it's a direct to consumer kind of a model. I am going to look at your economics, your unit economics and your price points and your selling strategy and so on. So it depends on the type of venture that you're working on. There will not be a one size fit all metric.
Okay.
Right? For platform-based businesses, the metrics will be very different. There are few. I would have liked to see some more. There are few social sector ventures, right?
Yeah,
And
you said that in class.
so a venture could be a non-profit venture. These are not all for profit. And I have told the students this,
Yeah.
that please, guys, come up with some good ideas. And there are one or two, and their metric would be completely different. Profit or sales would not be part of their metrics. But if they have a
Impact.
good story for funders, if they have, again, the user base, how much they have built the ecosystem, how much they have set up, and sometimes even the quality of the idea itself, where a team of experts can sit and see the potential of, the scalability is one of the metrics. That is one of those uniform metrics that will be
Yeah.
applied across ventures. So, the metrics will be.
So it's
No,
not
I'd
a
like to chip in on that. And I think like the biggest factor here is when you make a pitch, you have we had a lot of external guys who were investors, like guys who invested in firms, big startups.
Indeed.
And you can make the best presentation of your life. You can dress up as fancy as you want. You can go put a tray in front of them and give them chai, coffee, whatever. But the moment they look at your presentation, they will immediately find a problem, within seconds. It happened with us when we were presenting our numbers. Actually, we prepared it a night before the pitch, and they immediately told us that okay, you made. So we had like the TAM, SAM, SOM.
Right.
That's the model we followed, which is
Pretty standard.
pretty standard. But then they looked at our TAM and we talked about all the cycles worldwide. And then we talked about SAM and we said, premium cycles and all. And then SOM, so that actually diluted this thing. That made it look like it was more, We were trying to get ahead of ourselves
Right.
by making our TAM huge.
Right.
So then they looked at us and they said, "Bhai, this is not gonna work. Okay, you can't fool us. You can
Right.
try to make your numbers look like they're huge and it's a huge
the
market."
available market sizes and all that.
Okay.
So they caught us. So after that we tried to restrain ourselves from doing creative accounting. Let's just
Right,
put it
right.
that way.
Yeah, so adding on to that, it's so what I'm doing, Ronit, for this batch is I'm preempting that process. I'm bringing that process of facing the market with your venture
Mhm.
much earlier into the cycle.
Yeah.
So the idea is that they can say you are leading the TVL, so I'm leading the TVL, and I'm gonna go through all the ideas. I am also, I'm taking this class on entrepreneurship, which has a lot to do with TVL.
Yeah.
And what I want the students to understand is you don't have to please me. It's the market that's going to decide.
Mhm.
I am floating your idea at this point of time to a bunch of mentors from the industry.
Yeah.
And experts, in the startup space. And if they don't like it, they will not pick you.
They won't.
So,
It's-
so I'm just preempting that.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
you put your best feet forward, and if you do not get, if you're not the first pick, then that's, so you sort of confront reality early on.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And these guys are top brass.
So they will immediately
They don't
say
hold
that,
back. They don't hold back.
Right,
They don't
right.
care. They're
so
coming for
so you
one
do not
day.
have to you can impress your classmates, you can impress the faculty, you can
Yeah.
impress your friends, but when I'm putting it out, I'm essentially taking your venture, putting it out on the street.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Impress the people who is your target
I was
customer,
gonna buy it. Yeah.
right? And the people and investors. Yeah.
Involvement you have in that particular market, like how much of a part are you in that, whatever you're catering to. It
Yeah.
happened with us, our venture SyncUL. We
Right.
actually started off by an employee progress tracking platform,
Mhm.
but they outright questioned us like, what do you know about employees? Are you in the corporate
Mhm.
field? So
Exactly.
we have no experience. So later it was just circled down to, you are students, you know better about your student environment than employees. So it's better that
Yes.
you cater something to individual needs of students. That's how our venture also progressed. So initially
is-
things like this happen.
No, this is a very good point, because this is something that I have been also trying to push, that you all have certain life experiences and strengths. You have been to places, you have been in. Just be more observant,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
And see the society around you, and play on your strengths. You might be playing, you might be gaming for like 8 hours a day, or whenever you get some free time. Why cannot you think of an idea to make gamers' life more comfortable? For example, I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you get into game development and innovate on that. I mean, that's, you might not be qualified to do that, but there are other things, right?
Yeah.
Related to gaming, in product design, in ergonomics of how gamers spend so much hours, sitting down and doing things. And so why not do that? Because that's something that you know a lot of.
Yeah.
Right? So this is just one example, and there are many examples. And I'm telling that. So for example, if you say that I'm going to get myself involved in this particular, say, enterprise software, you have to know about that enterprise. You have to do the process mining of how each aspect
Works.
of the what is the flow of functions
Yeah.
there. So
And sir, what happens if nobody picks your idea, like you said?
I'll mentor you.
And that's a indicator for you to pull up your
Yeah.
socks.
No, I'm
Of
joking.
course.
I strongly believe, I mean, and one of the reason why I am taking a more hands-on approach and kind of doing something that I should not be doing, which is I'm really pushing back on people from this point on, like what you talked about, that convince me. I'm asking the tough questions, so that they have a pool of idea, or the TVL batch has a pool of idea that I feel will, there will be someone in the domain who would like to mentor these teams. So I do not think it will happen.
Hmm.
And we also have faculty members, so
Right.
we have enough mentors. If I throw, you have what, 28 venture teams,
Hmm.
around 28 venture teams, right?
28.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I reduced the team size to
Almost
5.
Yeah, 28.
28 venture
Team size is
Because
5
the
now.
Team size
members
is
have
5. I reduced it
How
to
many
5.
did we guys have?
We had around 16, 17.
Yeah, we had
Because your
bigger
team
teams.
size
7.
was
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
right? So that was one of the things I wanted to do. I was pretty much sure that the first thing I want to do is to reduce the team
Oh,
size.
that's huge.
Uh,
28
and
teams.
So with 28 teams, if I display your teams to say 50 mentors,
Mm.
I'm sure we could
Yeah.
get. Of course, at this point of time, I'm giving mentors to choose. So it might happen that there are a couple of people who might say, with the same idea, they might select the same idea because it has merit,
Mm.
right? So then I might need to intervene and say, okay, why don't you mentor this other team? And those kind of things, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That also sort
Once-
of gives the team a competitive edge,
Yeah.
that your
Yeah,
idea should be a
idea
little
is-
promising, because what if you
So
don't get a
no,
mentor?
I mean that's what you see
Yeah.
in a Shark's Tank, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you are really good, they are fighting among themselves
To pick.
to
Yeah.
To invest. Yeah.
and it should be the same with mentors.
Yeah.
I hope it I hope this is
Yeah.
I shouldn't say it should be like that. I hope it is like that.
I think the
At
best part about TVL is that, like you were talking about video game development, best part is this is your chance to like pursue a crazy idea,
Mhm.
go crazy, pick something unconventional, because that's what it's going to teach you. I mean, when you've got your own skin in the game, when you're bootstrapped with your own money, you might still think about the risks involved. There are, like, I wouldn't say there are zero risks, but it's still, you're pretty cushioned. So you
Exactly.
can pick a crazy idea. Like when we started connectivity, matlab, before even the whole IoT cycle business, our first idea was campus electric scooters.
Right.
So like we wanted to do Yulu on campus.
Okay.
Very simple.
Hmm.
So instead of cycles, replace it with something that's sustainable and better. So it's one
Mhm.
step above cycles, cheaper also, electric hai,
scooters.
and not like a big scooter, but those kick
The-
scooter,
the-
kick
got it,
scooter
got it,
type.
yeah.
Or even the what do you call those? Where you stand and
Haan, wahi,
electric-
kick
yeah, the
scooter,
kick
that
scooters, right.
So you like have 1 foot down, and if it runs out of battery, you can still use
Still
it.
use it. Right.
So that was our initial idea, but then that was like you
Yeah.
needed a lot of capital for that. So after starting with such a crazy idea, we filtered it down, watered it down, and then found our specialization. So
Yeah,
like
right.
that's like a that's the freedom that you have. Pick something crazy.
I mean,
I
it's
want to
great
ask you guys.
opportunity.
I want to ask you guys. At what point of time? Of course, these are different ventures. Did you actually start really executing it? Is it as soon as TVL started? Because you get the summer to think about the ideas and all that.
Yeah,
So
ours
the
was a-
execution, did you start immediately or?
No, it obviously took time. It took time to get to the idea itself.
Right.
And then that was a long time-taking process.
Right.
And then after that, it goes to, finding a decision that do you have to build like an app or do you have to build just a website? That
Right.
decision is there. And then to find an app developer who can actually do it.
Right.
And then what services do you have to include in that? Who will you sell your idea to? Is it B2B? Is it B2C? Obviously, again, we were also recommended by our mentor to just go B2C. But
Right.
then we thought that
Hmm.
a better prospective idea would be to actually do B2B.
Right.
Like, because a lot of universities, a lot of colleges are in need of this thing. A lot of students,
Exactly.
a lot of professors are actually concerned about their students not submitting assignments in time. So this is
Right,
helpful
right.
to students.
And this
right?
is despite having
Yeah.
a learning management system
Mhm.
like Blackboard
Yeah.
in all the universities.
So we thought it would be more, interesting to have an platform that caters to each and every student. So you don't have to again go back to looking to the entire pool of students and be like, not the entire student body is just not doing it. But then if you know actually like each and every individual, their progress, then you can actually know that if who is working and who's
Right,
not,
right.
and who's interested and who's not interested.
And
Right.
and I believe you guys also integrated like a mental health side of things into it.
Yes.
So I think you should talk more about that, because I think that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Because their team actually was working on integrating like a mental health support type
Yeah,
of
I
thing,
mean,
like
it's
My Dost, yeah, whatever
it
it's
is
called.
interdependent, right? if you're doing mentally, emotionally fine, obviously you would have more, time on your hands to dedicate to your career, your
Right.
Yeah.
academics and all. If that is falling short, and then you'll have
Of
so many other
course.
concerns, and
Right.
your attention could be reduced over here. So we thought
Right.
it's better that if you inculcate more importance to both of these, it's sort of like a balanced system
See.
there.
So what are the resources you guys, were you matching people with the therapy, or what was
No.
exactly?
So we actually started off with the academic
Thing.
aspects.
Mm.
So after that, we did not. After that, almost really,
Yeah.
we didn't really get into the
Yeah.
wellness aspect. But our idea was to, just like create a. Have you guys heard of like Discord channels where
Yeah,
people
Discord
can
channels,
join
of course, of
channels
course.
and then
Yeah,
Of
learn?
course.
So we sort of thought about creating like a academic learning sort of challenge over there, and then
Mm.
creative channels where people of all wide varieties of interest can join in. That is, it's university specific, right? So all people create an account from their university email ID, and then
Right.
you find your potential interested people in the same university, in the same space.
Right.
That was one part of it.
So all this
Mm.
happens on the app itself.
Yes, on
Okay.
the app itself.
Hmm.
So this was one thing, your generation, for
Yeah.
example, you all are so clued into all the technology tools,
Yeah.
right? And then if a team comes and says, I want to do, something
Old school.
Yeah.
really old school,
Yeah.
it's fine if, you are doing something very innovative with the old school, but you are
Yeah.
just saying, I'm going to buy this and then sell it at a markup.
Trading, basically.
Right. And my point is, okay, I'm going to do some innovation packaging of flavors and all. You see, that's not what TVL is about.
Mm.
Yeah.
See,
Right.
entrepreneurship is a very broad term, and it is a small business. He's an entrepreneur. If he's setting up a shop, a fast food shop in a very busy place, that guy, I would call that guy an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But that's from the academic side of how we understand entrepreneurship. But when we do think about the venture lab,
That's-
that is not what we want you to do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Innovation is a big part of the program.
Mhm.
Solving problem is big part of the problem, and a big part of the the overall the goal of the program,
Yeah,
the
that's
learning
why every
objectives of the
pitch-
program.
Every pitch we started, first slide, problem statement.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So if you're somebody who's trading, like we had a team, I don't want to name call, who was literally selling t-shirts. So
Okay.
buying it from one guy, putting their own
You
label
might
on
have
it,
to edit that out.
and then selling it.
Yeah.
So, there's no innovation in that. There's no problem solving. They can, okay, we're solving this problem that, people want high quality t-shirts. Is
Hmm.
that a real problem?
It's
You need to
important
ask
to
yourself.
study your consumer base also. Like, are
Right,
they really
it's-
interested in what you are doing? Because we also thought of not doing the mental health aspect on mobile, but we thought we would do actually the old school type. We'd have like actual meetups with people on weekends and like
Mhm,
go
mhm.
outside, you do some fun activity. But when we actually took the survey, nobody
Nobody
voted for
See,
that.
that's a very, very
Yeah.
important lesson, and that's
Hmm.
you might have heard me talking in class about this. That okay, you see a problem, and I said, okay, tell me your process of how you ideated. How did you come
Mhm.
Yeah.
across this?
Yeah.
I was reading something and I saw that this is a problem, and I thought it would be cool to do this. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I mean, you thought you saw a problem and you thought of a solution, but that's just the start of the process.
Yeah.
You can fall in love with your solution, that we will do this and we'll do that, and we'll also add this feature and so on and so forth. But it's not about you and your idea. It's about the people who is going to adopt that, use that, or pay money for
Also
that,
depends
right?
on
And-
if the problem is, if you think something is a problem, that might not be the problem for your base.
Yeah,
that you are catering to.
anecdotally, or even that if you sometimes it happens that you go from the individual to the collective, right? You think of a problem that you face, then you reflect that this might be a problem for, that's how Uber started, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this guy, so renting a cab was, so if you are a C-suite executive,
Yeah.
you don't want to go and hail a cab.
Hmm.
At the same time, the pre-booking cab in California was very, very expensive,
Yeah.
to get the chauffeur service.
Hmm.
So, he created an app initially and he would send the link to his friends
yeah.
who can then through the app quickly do it. And the basic idea was you can see through the GPS where the cab driver is, how long it will take him to reach you. The price is kind of set, you can pay online and you can do it very quickly. That's how it started. That's how Uber started. And then it
Started off
added
catering to luxury
luxury
cars, yeah.
cars, right? And
It
then
still
it
does.
kind of
Went,
expanded,
yeah,
went
yes.
global, and
Yeah.
and became. I mean, there. In India, we see Uber as what? We see Uber as a platform matching
Yeah.
Drivers
taxi
and,
drivers
passengers.
with
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point of time in the US, and even to some extent, in
Even
a lot
now.
of places now, you can be driving back from home and then switch on the driver mode and pick up people and get paid for it.
Yeah.
So it is there. It is thought of as matching excess capacity in your car with people who want to
Right.
commute,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas what we understand here is slightly different.
Mhm.
So, but think about the process in how they went. It was an individual problem. Then he thought that this problem is faced by multiple people. But then the things that you are offering as a advanced set of features are all looking at what people actually need.
Yeah.
Not what you think might be
Yeah.
very cool
And
to add in
the
the app.
best part is your target audience gives you the best advice.
Yeah.
So like when we were building our product, we were like, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll have like 500 different features. But they said, we want this, boss. Look, we don't have so much time for all this, and we want simple monitoring. And geofencing was something that was an instant hit
Right.
with all of our thing. And they were like, we actually like picked up the geofencing idea from Ather,
Right.
because Ather
I
had
think you told me
introduced
about
geofencing
that,
into
geofencing.
scooters. So we thought, why not do it on cycles? If somebody moves a cycle outside a virtual boundary, you get a notification.
If you remember in the initial days when you guys are thinking and we had a conversation,
Yeah.
and I kept on telling you one thing, that it's a really cool product that you guys are thinking of, but never fall in love with your idea so much
Yeah.
that you go into denial when the user says
Yeah.
this is not what I want.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
no. Never be so invested,
Hmm.
because take that feedback. And I'm trying to teach so I give them a product development exercise, right? So they take apart the design, they improve it, and then they pitch it in front of the classroom. And of course, the classmates are asking questions. Some of them valid questions, some of them are a bit silly, And my point is, and I told them that you guys you all seem to have a response for every point of criticism.
Yeah.
And that makes your idea suspect what you have done. No, we'll do this. And someone asks, no, we'll figure that out and we'll do this. I'm like, no, just say that you haven't thought about it, or you do not know, or you made a mistake in the way you designed this. So for example, this guy, I gave the sleeping pillow, right? The travel pillow that you carry on a flight.
Yeah.
So he wants to add all these sensors for music and this and that, make it more comfortable, and he wants to have a Bluetooth device for receiving calls and calling.
Okay.
And I said, who will call you on a flight? and then he's just staring at me for a few seconds.
Right. Yeah.
No, then you can, like when you are not on a flight. I said, who have you seen walking around in a car or something? Then he's like, no, in a passenger seat. I said, what you are doing now?
You're just defending it.
You are, defending the indefensible.
Yeah.
Try to see, it's a process that, and if you take the process, approach the process honestly, you learn a lot of things. And, the expectation from TVL is not that all 28 teams would be unicorns.
Yeah.
No one thinks like that.
Yeah.
But the learning that comes out of it, when you go through that entrepreneurial process, it is immense. It is, I cannot...
we cannot even quantify it.
Quantify it.
You cannot.
The things that you will learn. Someone who is who is completely a technophobe will become an expert in social media marketing.
Yeah.
Someone who has never worked with computers and is afraid of numbers will be doing unit economics. So this is the learning that essentially what we are looking for.
Yeah, and I think people will start realizing that soon.
Yes.
Like through like how it goes, I think people in like 3 to 4 months, I think they will
Yeah,
start
I know
realizing it.
I'm a bit pushy, but yeah, you are right.
There's a
You're
reason.
absolutely
There's a
right.
reason
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I mean,
I also feel like even I don't know about you guys, but did you guys also take a lot of time to realize this, that it's not just about the sales or the revenue, or how was it for
oh,
you
forget
guys?
sales and revenue.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It took us so long
Yeah.
to figure out what the idea
Exactly.
is, how to implement it. When
Yeah.
we started building the product, TVL finished.
Yeah.
So
Like you
forget
said,
sales and
yeah,
sales and revenue. Only
Yeah,
the
yeah, when they
teams,
started building, that was the end of TVA.
Hmm.
So when
Only
they
You took 2
actually,
semesters to.
only the teams who were white
Product
labeling.
based, yeah.
You know what white labeling
No.
is? You buy an already existing product
Okay.
and you stick your own label on it and you
Okay.
sell it.
Ha.
Only teams that were white labeling had sales and revenue.
Yeah.
Everybody else were in product development.
Mhm.
It depends, right? If you're a
Yeah.
service, they can't really expect you to go the same pace as your product-based ideas are going, especially what you said as white labeling.
Yeah.
So you can't really expect services that are starting to build an idea from scratch. They can't have the same progress at the same time. So
Yeah,
there's
different
no
ventures,
idea,
of
there's no
course.
thought of sales and revenue there.
They're already one step ahead of you.
Yeah.
which is I mean, which is okay in some sense that different ventures will have different cycle of when they start getting traction,
Development.
and certain products will take a longer time to get traction.
Yeah.
Some will get traction much slower, and so on. And I think we're all ready for that with your batch, and but
So
it'll be
It's
it'll
good
be
that you're
interesting
being
to
pushy.
see, right?
It's good that you're being pushy because that
Yeah.
at least forces them to move a little quicker.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, at least get to the MVP
Yeah.
as quickly
exactly.
as possible.
Exactly.
And then we'll see,
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah.
I think the
So-
idea here also is not to fall in sort of an idea that, my idea should be very creative and very different from each other. Like, if you are set on that sort of a mindset, you can't really decide what you want to
What
do
you want to
immediately. For example, Uber. Renting a cab, there's nothing too flashy, nothing too creative
Right,
over
right.
there. It's just a basic minimal need over there. But you're solving, something that's actually required for
Yeah,
people.
the same. I was teaching the digital strategy class, and I was telling them about the same with Airbnb. It's a very simple
Very
thing.
simple idea.
Yeah.
It's just using network effects, right, and the increasing economies of scale, and just bringing two markets together in a platform. And a lot of your ideas from the current TVL batch is talking about that, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see how they pan out, eventually.
When we were working on our idea, actually, Atanu sir was very closely working with me, and that was the first thing he told me: make the product, get it out, get it dirty, like let it get
Yeah.
tested.
Yeah.
And when he told me that, I was like, okay, we'll try. But now that I'm sitting here and I'm having this discussion with you guys, and I know how valuable that piece of feedback was, because we never actually got around to getting the product on a cycle.
Right.
We our product was in the lab, our product was in the central vistas, our product was outside the library. We were testing GPS and we were testing geofencing, but we never made it onto a cycle.
Right.
So
Onto a
like
cycle.
it was this small, and we used to sit like this.
So you are testing each individual component,
Yeah.
but you never put it together into
We
the
put
lock.
it together also,
But never
but we
test
never
on a
put it
cycle.
on a lock.
Lock in a cycle.
Yeah.
Same
So-
thing sort of happened with us also. We were
Right.
also testing for individual students. We weren't able to sell the entire thing to universities and
Universities.
colleges.
Yeah, that's one of the things that they say. One of the greatest. I wouldn't say that it is the only test, but a good test of the venture is when you actually manage to convince, especially if it's B2B or if you're selling to an institution, just make that one
Yeah.
one sell.
One cell, it's enough.
Just you design something that helps college students. Just convince another college to adopt it.
Yeah.
So the only way you can do that is if you have an MVP, right? Like
Yeah,
if you have
exactly.
something to take, and
Even if it doesn't look too good, like we had an amazing prototype image, it looked beautiful, and people looked at it and they were like, wow, I want that. And if I showed you guys my MVP, you would be shocked because it was just like a metal chain with like a cover around it, and a big log box attached onto it with mechanical like a whole GPS sensor and a small breadboard, and all of these components and like live wires that you could literally see. So it was like that. But the important thing is getting it out.
Lot
Even
of
if it's not
teams
beautiful.
also talk about aesthetic appeal of the product, aesthetic appeal of my
Yeah.
website. Nobody really cares about the aesthetic
So
appeal. They only
this
look at if
is-
it's solving your need.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you there are study. Okay,
I'm saying it. I think that happens once you're, like you said, too attached to your product,
Yeah.
because you just want to make it look
look
so
beautiful.
good and so
Yeah.
perfect. So you're like, okay. I think after that point, you're just making it for yourself.
I mean, it's not all
Yeah,
about the appearance,
exactly. You're making
right?
it for yourself too.
Yeah.
That my
Yeah.
product is
Self-fulfillment.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Self-fulfillment.
Mm.
Right.
You attach yourself to the product.
We started out with 5 sensors, 5 different sensors, like IMU and military grade stuff, like jitna sensor drones mein utna hum log cycle lock pe laga rahe. And then after that consultancy with, it was very interdisciplinary. After working with so many different engineers, they all told us, why? You're doing a simple task. Why do you want a GPS sensor that's so complicated and heavy? And actually, at the end of it, when we finished building our MVP to an extent, it was just the IMU and the GPS sensor
Right.
and the microcontroller. That's it. 3 components, 6 wires, 1 power supply wire and 1 connection wire for communication. That's it. And it was this tiny. Our first design board on a graphical chart was almost this big.
You have to reduce
And you
the
were like,
size.
itna bada
scale
leke
it
cycle
down
pe,
to
how can you even put this on a
put
cycle?
that thing. Yeah.
And many of the people actually told us, you're building equipment which is so expensive. Nobody will steal the cycle. They'll steal the log and go.
Yeah.
I
So-
remember that.
Yeah.
So you guys never made it out to the market?
No, we didn't sell anything. We just had I still have the prototype in my room though.
No, which is okay. I mean, I don't think selling is the
Yeah.
selling should not be, at least the way the TVL is designed and the way that the time constraints that you all had.
Yeah.
And
It's good that
it's-
it's getting extended to another SEM.
That's true.
Oh, that's
the best,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean that is something that I'm really pushing hard. I hope it will happen for their batch, and I'm pretty confident that we can make it happen.
And nobody does it.
It's a matter of
Nobody does it. It's
I wanted it 15 credits, of course, but I think that's going to be a hard
Yeah.
sell.
greedy. It's a little greedy.
Then it becomes easy to extend it, right? I just put another 5, but I thought no, we'll keep the 10 credits, but we'll extend it to.
But that's one thing that's very, very
Yeah.
unique to SNU. And nowhere, I think IIM, one of the IIMs is working on something like this with some medical college. The Bharati ma'am was also telling me. But at a UG level, nobody is gonna, push you to build a full-on
Right.
startup.
At least
Yeah.
in the among the established universities that we have in the country.
Yeah.
This is a very great opportunity.
Very limited.
Like,
Very
You are
limited.
getting so many resources for basically for free.
Yeah. Our team today came to me and asked that they wanted 4x the resources than this idea is. Their idea would be very viable. I said no idea becomes viable just with
Money.
Yeah.
just with money. Otherwise
Hmm.
everyone would be.
And they've just started.
They've
No,
started,
and
they've
as
not
a-
even started.
Yeah.
As a startup also, you have a monetary resource. Believe it or not, I mean, 50,000 was our capital cap.
Yeah.
Rohiti, let's say, because you've had a TVL journey, how much do you think we spent on developing our product?
Your product.
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't think that it would have been done in 50,000.
So, but how much do you think we spent on building the MVP?
30?
6,000.
Wow.
6,000.
This is good that you guys are saying it. I hope the current
Yeah.
TVL batch.
We built our
Because
entire website.
they have written to me 2 months back that they have this idea, but it requires building an app for which costs around 40,000-50,000 outside.
Yeah.
I said, of course, it is. You will build an app, but you will build it yourself.
Yourself. Our website, I mean, I can give you like a QR code, you can put it. I built that. I
Yeah,
designed
same.
it
We
on
That's
also
how
Wix.
you
use
do. I
website
mean,
on our own.
I did it on Wix.
Yeah.
see,
Yeah,
Free.
same.
that's
Exactly.
that's what entrepreneurs are supposed to do. They're
Yeah.
supposed to bootstrap.
Yeah.
They are supposed to deal with two things. They are supposed to deal with resource scarcity,
Yeah.
and they are supposed to deal with uncertainty.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm going to deal with the uncertainty of your ventures, along with it. So I do not know. I know, every venture, to be honest, is very, very uncertain,
Yeah.
and most would fail than succeed. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the statistics. But let's go through that. There's a lot of learning that comes out of that. And
It's
as
important
for
to have
resource scarcity, I mean, I actually think that TVL student teams are not resource scarce given what they are being provided
Yeah.
at the level that they're ideating, and the intellectual resource, the financial resource. I think it's more than sufficient, and
I mean,
a
there-
lot
there
could
is-
be done.
There
And
is
then,
never
if
an
the
upper
idea
limit.
has merit,
Yeah.
we'll go raise funds together.
There is never an upper limit. Having more
Yeah.
resources makes life easier. I mean, I always tell, I have this conversation with my friends that as a student, your greatest strength is begging.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your
absolutely.
greatest strength is begging. So you have to be ready. A simple, just me showing up to Jyoti ma'am's office every week, 3 times. I got all the components for free.
Yeah.
Everything that I needed. The makerspace, the access, the guy who built the prototype did for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want us. Since if you're working on a product development design thing, go talk to our professors in the design school. Go talk to
You
our
don't have
faculty
to go
colleagues
outside.
in engineers. Go talk to your network outside.
You
we
go outside.
will connect students with a lot of resources as much as we can, but ultimately you have to take ownership of that
It
process.
all comes down to
and
how
do it
interested you are in
in
your
that
idea.
thing. In your
I
idea.
had an amazing discussion with one of the biggest makerspaces in India. They're based out of Hyderabad. They're called T-Hub.
Yeah.
T-Hub, I know. Yeah,
So T-Hub, actually I knew one of the guys at T-Hub. He was in my school
right.
in, like 6th grade or something, but whatever. And I went and I spoke to them and they told us, we'll build you the entire product.
Mhm.
Everything. App also, hardware also, and whatever aesthetics that you're looking for, we'll incorporate it. We'll need you to give us 7.5 lakhs. We're like, boss, 50,000. And then they told us that we can't do it at that. But that doesn't mean your search stops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
You still
and,
keep
and, and,
leveraging
and that's
What you get.
this deploying, searching for resources and deploying the resources in a proper way. That is a big part of entrepreneurship. And of course, it would have been very nice if SNU, I mean, we do have a makerspace in some form, and there are plans to expand that. And a good makerspace is absolutely essential for entrepreneurship. To have a program in entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and to have ventures coming out of the university system. And
Hopefully
and
for
we are
you
getting there.
guys,
We are getting
hopefully for you guys, the makerspace will be around.
there. Yeah.
Even for us, even though it wasn't around, I cannot emphasize the amount of advice, suggestions, improvements, and process efficiencies I got out of working with Jyoti ma'am, who's the makerspace architect.
Makerspace makes so much differences.
It makes your life 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, for everything. I was on a entrepreneurship conference, in June.
Okay.
And so I was in a technical university, Munich, TUM, and they have one of the top maker spaces in Europe, like one of the best, and it became one of the best, even more. Like, I think it was one of the good maker spaces, but then it really upped its game because they got a huge amount of funding from the Bosch. Is it? Am I
Yeah,
pronouncing
Bosch.
it
Yeah,
correctly?
Bosch.
The Bosch,
Yeah.
the family,
Yeah.
So from them,
Mm.
like €1 billion or something, and I went to that maker space, and you walk into that maker space in TUM,
Yeah.
and you feel like leaving everything and just start playing around with things and
Hmm.
just sit down and
Yeah,
design
yeah.
and create and think of things to solve.
Yeah.
So maker space is absolutely essential for having actually if we keep on doing TVL, and if TVL
Survives.
survives, and we have this program going. I wouldn't say survive. I think it'll survive. But if we need to come up with better and better ideas and ventures as
Quality should improve.
at some point, we will feel the need for a good maker space.
Yeah.
Like these-
I don't think
People may, but I mean, there's some overlap, but these are distinct areas of function and study. Like people who study leadership, people who study entrepreneurship, sometimes they overlap. Similarly, if you're the founder, you need to have some leadership qualities, or you can not have leadership qualities, you can hire leaders.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what a lot of startups do. They bring in some good people with leadership qualities on the board and so on. So
Societal.
you have to take the lead in that way. You have to be some sense a bit of a leader if you are entrepreneuring. But the way we understand leadership in the corporate domain and in academia, it's slightly different from.
I mean, leadership is definitely a part of entrepreneurship.
Right.
But it's all about, it's not really about you taking the stand and talking, but it's like you have to emphasize more on taking the lead and finding the right opportunities for your venture.
I would say, a good entrepreneur would actually promote leadership in his team.
Then being
now more and more, the leadership itself is about these kind of value additions. A good leader would always take the back seat and push up the great leaders. They say that they surround themselves with people smarter than them. Most good leaders tend to do that. They would always hire people that they believe are better than them and more intelligent than them. Might not have the necessary leadership qualities, but in general, in domain experts and in functions. So I don't think you need to be a leader. A good leader, let me put it this way, a good leader might not necessarily be a good entrepreneur. Right? You can be a good leader in an existing organizational setup. You can be a good political leader. You can be a good, but a lot of leaders also do a lot of venturing or entrepreneuring, which is you deal with uncertainty very well and you deal with resource scarcity very well. So there is overlap, but it's not the same thing. Right? If as you are entrepreneuring, if leadership quality is one of the things that you learn, I mean, which I hope some of you will learn that, and that's great. We often forget how much luck plays a role.
Yeah.
So, for example, we look at successful entrepreneurs and we look at their characteristics and how they started their venture, and we say this is what you need to do. But you might have equally good ideas and good people who have failed, and their ventures have failed. They're not in the market, so you don't see them. They did not do anything wrong. A lot of times, market forces play a part, luck plays a part, their own mental health plays a part, other factors play a part. So I would not go into that kind of a reductionist thing that, these things make a successful entrepreneur. And, if you do not have that, then you cannot be a successful entrepreneur. I think it can be taught, it can be learned. It is not something innate that people are born with. It's not one of those things.
Yeah.
And you need to want to do it, and you need to start doing it. Yeah. I think in the syllabus, I put a quote that you miss 100% of the shots that you never take.
Yeah.
It's like that. You need to take the shots.
I think that's anybody can be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Anybody can do it.
As long as you have the interest and dedication, anybody can go for it.
Put in the work, you put in the interest,
And
you are reflective and observant. You can do it. You can learn to do it. You can learn to do it.
One quality that stands out to me, which I've had my fair share of dealing with people, is that you need to be determined. Like there will be challenges, there will be failures, there will be people coming and giving you criticisms, there'll be people coming and telling you, it's not going to work out and you won't be able to do it. But that determination takes you a long way, where you're ready to take that slander, you're ready to listen to your criticism, in a healthy way and
Not get
move
all
on.
defensive.
Yeah.
Not
like,
get all defensive.
have a response for
Yeah.
every every
You know,
criticism that is coming.
you
your
have
way.
you have to take everything as it comes and move on. So determination, a lot of people just fail because they're not determined enough, and they just, after a point, they just can't anymore.
And I would like to add to that. I think failing is okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know that some of the teams will fail, and I am okay with it, and they should be okay with it. And what I do not want is for them to fail and then give up entrepreneuring for the rest of their lives
Yeah,
if they're interested.
yeah.
Some people are not into that. Some people, because of their, they might be risk averse. They want a job. They want to, so that's fine. I'm not saying that everyone go and become entrepreneurs, but I'm saying that a failure in a venture should not play any part in your deciding to start a venture again.
It can teach you a lot of things.
Exactly.
You can have so many ideas. You can have so many point of improvements in your criticism as well.
Mhm.
So it's important to take that criticism in a good way.
Yeah.
One last thing is, like on this topic, you need to know when to let go.
Yeah.
Like
Of-
that's the difference.
Absolutely.
See, my main example when I think about this is there's a Vijay Mallya, there's a Mukesh Ambani. They're both visionaries. Great vision, great things for India.
Mhm.
One didn't know when to let go, and one knew when to let go and pick the industries that would work.
Right.
So as an entrepreneur, you can't just say, this is my baby and stay on it for
Right.
the
You
for
need
the
to
entirety
cut
of
your
your life.
losses. Sometimes
cut your
need
losses
to
and move
know
on.
that
Yeah.
when something is not working out, and and that's how serial entrepreneurs function.
You should know how to sacrifice.
It's like a
We call it, so a lot of teams are coming with multiple ideas, and I said, you have to kill some of your darlings. You need to know that, I have to let it go. And,
that's
and
that's
focus
how
on-
venture capitalists operate.
Mhm.
They're investing in 10 ideas. 9 of them fail.
Will fail.
One of them is a winner. But that win is so big.
Big that's
Enough to
how
cover 9 losers.
That's how ventures function. That's how in the real world, fundraising, that's how it functions.
Right.
Now, of course, in India, we are seeing a lot of what is called micro VCs, where they
Yeah.
want to spread it out among a lot of smaller ventures. But traditionally, that's how it functions. I mean, most ventures fail, but people who do venture, they don't. People who are into entrepreneurship and about doing their own thing and starting their own business, they don't. Those failures are what builds up to a successful idea at some point of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can we say that this TVL is just like, I think I expect myself to fail so that I survive the 10 ideas or the 20 ideas which I want to work on in the future, so that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So you think of this as a training for those. I mean, if your training set succeeds, nothing like it. But if it does not, at least those 20 ideas in the future
You learn something.
are not just
Yeah.
not imaginary. You do something about
Just
it.
like an investment.
Yeah, you do something about those ideas. Don't just let it disappear.
TVL is just an experience, and
Yeah.
you need to embrace it and give it a tight hug. Stay with it through the challenges. You can't just give up and say, "Oh, I'm just doing it for the credits." That's the wrong
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. So the idea is that failure in the venture is absolutely okay. Not working on that.
Yeah.
Is not okay.
Not giving
Is
you
not
100%.
Yeah, that is not okay. So the idea is that you give your 100%, you try what is there to be done, and sometimes because of certain reasons, when your venture will fail. Just like all the ventures out there in the world, most of them fail.
Yeah.
We only see the successful ones,
Right.
right? And so most of them fail. So it is okay that it will fail, but the lessons that you take from that failure it's important. It's important not only for you as an individual, but also if you want to become an entrepreneur in the future.
Yeah.
It's also about your mindset and how you perceive this opportunity. You can't really enter with saying, "Oh, this is being forced on me and I don't want to do it. I am not interested." It's all about, you taking the experience in a good
but
way.
Rohit, that's the thing, right? You can say the same thing about macroeconomics.
Yeah,
Or the you are in ECE and you say, they're forcing
Yeah.
computer science 101 on me. I don't want
Yeah.
to take it. Eventually, you cannot use that logic when you're in college, right? You cannot say,
Yeah.
MEC is being
Mm.
forced on me, or strategy is being forced on me. You have to learn that,
That's
right?
true.
So there's a certain element of, you have selected to invest in your own human capital.
Yeah.
So once you have selected in, stay the course,
Yeah.
right?
A lot of us might not realize, but this is actually play a huge role in our future.
Yeah.
When imagine you're giving your first pitch in your business, whatever
Yeah.
job you're in. It's fortunate that you have enough experience in your university, and you actually
Right.
know how things work out. But if it was your first pitch without even this experience, then you would
Right.
regret it. That I should have taken this course.
Yeah.
And TVL is like, teaches you so much about
Yeah.
life. That's the other thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I cannot-
Resolving conflict in your teams,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
I
Team
was just gonna
dynamics.
get to
Yeah.
I've had people, my team members,
Yeah.
friends, all friends. We went the all friends route.
Okay.
We're all friends.
Oh.
And my God, like friendships are breaking,
Yeah.
things are getting thrown around, fights are breaking out. One night before the pitch, people aren't showing up. But that at the end of the day taught us that unity and working with people, that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing.
Mhm.
And only then can you create something beautiful. As an individual,
Yeah.
you can't really go that far. So yeah, there'll be many things that you take away, and maybe sometime we can discuss about the other things that I learned.
Yeah.
Not here though.
Okay, so let's conclude this. Or do you want to say anything?
No.
You guys want to say anything?
I think we have spoken enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's
Yeah.
let's
Let's wrap up.
Perfect. Thank you so much.